Ito ang Broad Stream Cast Communicators, ang naiiba at kakaibang plataforma sa digital broadcast. Mula Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao hanggang sa iba't ibang dako ng mundo. Broad Stream Cast Communicators, ang sandigan ng sambayanan mula sa walang labis at walang kulang na pagbabalita, paglilingkod, maglalahad ng mga mapagbuong komentaryo at usaping pambayan para sa kapakanan ng karamihan. Broad Stream Cast Communicators, tuwirang maglilingkod ngayon hanggang sa susunod na henerasyon. Buhay Online, Chikahan at kaalamang pangkabuhayan. Ating tunghayan, pakinggan at tuklasin ang mga pangyayari at kaganapan sa mundo ng online. Buhay Online, Chikahan at kaalamang pangkabuhayan. Alamin ang pinaka-latest trends mula sa trabaho at kung hanggang saan na ang narating ng teknolohiyang ito. At ngayon, narito na ang ating host, ang ating Techiemommy, si Jaye C. Bautista.
Hello. Happy Thursday, everyone. Magandang umaga po. Pasensya na po, late ako ng konti. Marami lang pong tinapos gawin. But anyway, happy Thursday, everyone. And just Christmas is really literally just around the corner. Dito na po, ito po ang ating last na mga few days before Christmas. Sa Saturday na yung Christmas. Kahapon po nagkaroon kami ng Christmas party dito sa aming apartment complex, no? And we had fun naman. Siyempre, of course, observing pa rin mga safety protocols. Nagmamask pa rin po kami. Tsaka, of course, yung alcohol. Pero nagkaroon pa naman kami ng salo-salo at kasiyahan kahapon dito sa aming place dito sa Pampanga. Nag-potluck po kami and we celebrated naman. It's a Christmas party po. No? And especially nowadays naman, marami talaga nagka-Christmas party virtually or in real life. But in some countries naman, like Japan, they're trying to, parang there's no virus anymore for them, they're living normally, but of course still with masks. Because I think naman talaga that's the reality of it all. We're just gonna have to live with this virus and of course keep observing the proper safety and protocols and yun na nga, talaga we just have to live with it. And we'll be still wearing masks for a while. Like till we know nga for sure what's going on with this virus and especially ngayon yung Omicron virus na mabilis na mag-spread. Sinasabi nila, yun yung one thing for sure, it spreads faster than its predecessors. COVID-19 tsaka yung Delta variant na kumakalat naman ngayon sa Europe, right? And sa America. But they said, of course, because of having been vaccinated already, hindi namang masyado daw malala yung effects. But of course, if you have existing conditions, it's still dangerous, to some extent. We still don't know how it's going to kung ano yung effect sa inyo, right? So, hindi naman din natin masasabi. So, ano pa rin, ingat pa rin lahat, right? Anyway, so, in connection to that, yung Omicron virus, no, these are the findings. These are the findings regarding the Omicron virus. And we said nga in Europe, it's spreading. It's really spreading fast. And people are getting hospitalized again. But what is the real score between this virus, right? Kasi iba-iba eh. Una sabi nila serious, pero recently sabi hindi naman masyadong serious yung effect. But, of course, the truth remains, it's still nakakahawa, right? It's still a virus that can spread easily, right? So ngayon kasi, 'di ba, in London and in Paris, their travel's restricted na from going place to place because of the fast spreading of this Omicron virus. So we'll talk. Let's check out kung paano yung situation sa London. Okay. British data indicate lower hospitalization rate for Omicron. All right. So, what? This is the news from Washington, United States. 2 studies from Britain published Wednesday showed COVID-19 infections with Omicron. Okay, ito na. Ito, pinaka-latest about it. December 23 yung date. Okay? Just in po ito. So, pinaka-latest to na update regarding the Omicron virus. 2 studies from Britain published Wednesday showed COVID-19 infections with Omicron are less likely to result in hospitalization. Ayun daw ha. Compared to the Delta variant. Yun na nga, mas malakas pa yung Delta variant na yan na nag-spread sa South Africa. Nagsispread ngayon sa London, sa Europe, tsaka sa America. Itong galing sa South Africa, itong Omicron, right? So, compared to the Delta variant now, the latest studies from Britain show that the latest research confirmed that this is if you're infected with the Omicron virus, you are less likely to be hospitalized. Okay, compared to the Delta variant, the latest research confirming a trend first identified in South Africa. Okay, the preliminary studies, one paper from Scotland and the other from England, were cautiously welcomed by experts who nonetheless stress that any advantage in milder outcomes could still be negated by the new strain's heightened infectiousness. Yun na nga mas nakakahawa tong Omicron, mas mabilis siyang mag-spread. Pero yun ang sabi nila, hindi siya ganun kalakas na virus. Right? Especially kung sa mga bakunado na. But of course, because of its heightened infectiousness, it will still lead to more overall severe cases. We're saying that this is qualified good news. Qualified because these are early observations. They are statistically significant, and we are showing a reduced risk of hospitalizations. Excuse me, pardon me. Okay, so itong sinabi ni Jim McMenamin, a co-author of the Scottish research, sinabi niya ito sa mga reporters. Okay, the Scottish paper examined COVID cases recorded in November and December and grouped them by cases caused by Delta against those caused by Omicron. It found that Omicron is associated, with a 2/3 reduction in the risk of COVID-19 hospitalization when compared to Delta. So talagang mas malala itong Delta, right? While also showing that a booster vaccine offered substantial additional protection against symptomatic infection. Okay? So compared to Delta, the risk of there's a 2/3 reduction risk in the COVID-19 hospitalization. Mas mababa yung mga numbers ng na-hospital kung na-infect ng Omicron as opposed to the Delta. Okay? So again, it found that Omicron is associated with 2/3 reduction in the risk of COVID-19 hospitalization when compared to Delta, while also showing that a booster vaccine offered substantial additional protection against asymptomatic infection. Ayun kasi yun yung deadly dun yung mga asymptomatic na walang sign. Ganyan ako na victimized kami, because we didn't even think or feel that we were sick. Because my whole family had it. The study was small and there were no people under 60 hospitalized at the time. But the authors said they had adjusted for these limitations using statistical methods. The second paper from England found there was a 20 to 25% reduction in any attendance at hospital for Omicron compared to Delta, and a 40 to 45% reduction in hospitalizations lasting one night or longer. In other words, admissions, okay? The Scottish study only looked at admissions so that this may account for part of the different scene. Azra Ghani of the Imperial College London, who co-authored the England study, said in a statement, whilst the reduced risk of hospitalization with the Omicron variant is reassuring, the risk of infection remains extremely high. Kasi nga, mas mabilis siya mag-spread, okay? With the addition of the booster dose, vaccines continue to offer the best protection against infection and hospitalization. Neither of the studies has been peer-reviewed, but they add to growing evidence about the disease outcomes with Omicron. Diba? I'd like to welcome our friends to the show pala. Hindi ko nakikita yung mga pangalan nyo, pero welcome. Maraming salamat po sa inyong pagsubaybay and for always supporting us. Thank you so very much. We really appreciate it. Okay? Pasensya na dito sa mga gugulo na Very good. Thank you for always being supportive. Okay? It remains unclear whether the decreased rate of severe cases seen with Omicron is because of characteristics of the variant or whether it appears milder because it's coming up against populations with greater immunity from prior infection and from vaccination. Penny Ward, a professor of pharmaceutical medicine at King's College London, who was not involved in the research, said, "This news does not detract from the extraordinary spread of this variant across the population, and the fact that even a small proportion of people needing hospital care for COVID may become a very large number. Indeed, if the community attack rate continues to escalate." Okay? So yun, okay? Magandang balita doon, yung Omicron virus na hindi naman daw ganun ka-deadly. Okay? In connection to that, the Philippines has attained substantial population immunity versus COVID-19. Well, okay, this is okay. So really, Philippines has attained substantial population immunity. The Philippines has achieved a substantial population immunity against COVID-19 as infections and hospitalization numbers drop despite the higher mobility and the easing of movement restrictions, an expert said. Father Nicanon Austriaco, an Octa Research Fellow and a University of Santo Tomas Biological Science Professor, said that the Philippines is experiencing the lowest COVID-19 case numbers in 20 months, with an average of about 500 cases per day. The country's hospitalization numbers are also at its lowest in 20 months, with the Makati Medical Center announcing for the first time that it has no COVID patients, okay? So yun, so Makati Med, first time nila i-announce now they have absolutely no COVID patients. That's very good news, right? But this is also interesting because we are experiencing the highest mobility in 20 months. Many of our people are moving around now, the most in 20 months since the beginning of the pandemic. And the lockdown in March of 2020, this is what Austriaco said during a meeting at the government's pandemic task force last Monday. And so what these three mean together is that it suggests that we have attained substantial population immunity from natural infections and vaccinations in the urban area of the Philippines because the pandemic has raged and spread primarily in our cities and in our first-class municipalities, he said. Hello, whoever's watching in the show, I don't see your names. Can you type something, please? So I know who you are. But nevertheless, maraming salamat. Sinasamahan niyo po ako. Tuloy kayong nagsusuporta. Thank you very much. And so, the fact that the virus is struggling to find new Filipinos to infect suggests that we have attained substantial population immunity. Hello there, Miss Cynthia Busta. I've been missing you for the past few days. Welcome to the show, Cynthia. Merry Christmas to you too. Happy holidays. Oh, hello there. Oh, I have here Sugar, my colleague in the ESL industry. Hello, Sugar. Hello, welcome to the show, Sugar. Is your son watching? I cannot greet him, or I'll greet him, but whoever's watching with you, hello to the kasama of Sugar in her household. Thank you very much for watching. Okay, so now the reason why these four different countries, okay, we're talking about the fact, okay, the fact is the virus is struggling to find new Filipinos to infect, okay, this Omicron virus. It suggests that we have attained, but we have supposedly attained substantial population immunity or herd immunity. Austriaco said the Philippine condition is better than those of its neighbors, Thailand and Malaysia, which are still recording about 5,000 new infections per day, and Vietnam, which is still reporting about 15,000 new cases daily. It's okay, Cynthia, but thank you so much for coming back to the show. Thank you, salamat, Cynthia. Then si Cynthia Buste, isa sa aking mga regular listeners and viewers here at Broad Stream Cast Communicators, Buhay Online with yours truly. Now, the reason why these four different countries have experienced different pandemic curves is probably because, as you can see, the Philippines experienced, unlike these three other countries, substantial waves of previous variants. So, especially the Alpha Beta variant, which struck our beloved country in March and April of this year. And so, combining the vaccinations and the natural immunity, what you're seeing here is that many of our cities where the pandemic tends to focus are now stable enough to prevent transmission. Okay? Sinabi rin ni Austriaco, Metro Manila, which has a significantly high vaccination rate, is probably going to be robustly protected against a future surge. Malacanang said the public should continue to comply with health and safety protocols despite the improving pandemic situation. Kasi ngayon na nga, we cannot be complacent. Hindi po tayo dapat maging kampante. Just because bumababa yung number of infections, it doesn't mean we will let our guards down, right? We still have to continue wearing masks when we go out in public specifically and go to closed areas, right? But of course, if you're going to eat out, you're going to have to put down your mask. But, common sense na lang. And what's important is that we still practice those safety protocols because we have to. There's no two ways about it, This is how we have to live. Okay, God knows how long, but this is how we are supposed to live. Okay, President Duterte thinks there's better days ahead, okay? President Rodrigo Duterte expressed optimism that Filipinos would see better days ahead because of the decreasing number of infections. Really, yeah. We continue to see downward trend of the positivity rate, now only less than 2%. This means that for every 100 persons treated for COVID-19, only maximum of 2 people turned out to be positive. The president said this during a pre-recorded press release. Better days ahead because since December 1, we have been on average of 500 to 600. The number of active cases continues to go down. I am talking about the COVID, he said. So Duterte also cited a Goldman Sachs, all right, stating that the Philippines is expected to be a strong economy in Southeast Asia by 2022. Sana naman, right? It's been a long time coming, okay? All right, well, that remains to be seen. We still have to worry about the coming Omicron and how it would impact on the population of the Philippines. But the confidence at least is there, and the analysts believe that the gross domestic product, or GDP, could hit more than 7%. I hope this will be a good Christmas for everybody. Okay? All right. So Duterte expressed hope that the Omicron variant won't enter the Philippines, even if, as he is assured the public that the government is capable of handling the health risk. We are hoping for the best, that that we pray to God that things will get better. All right. But as far as this, this Omicron virus is concerned, okay, that it's not going to be giving people serious medical conditions. No. Okay, so that's a miracle because other countries are still reeling from the effect. It seems that they have a problem with Omicron, the president said. Okay, well, they got excited about this virus that they were saying that spread so fast. So one thing remains true, it is highly transmissible, but we don't know yet the strain of it. For now, they're saying that the symptoms are not just mild, and that you can get over easier from the COVID. All right, so there's no need to panic, because Austriaco said preliminary data from South Africa suggests that the Omicron wave is 3 times higher than the Delta wave, which means that it is more transmissible or contagious among vaccinated individuals. Okay, what you can see is that the preliminary data suggests that 10 times more unvaccinated individuals are being hospitalized as compared to vaccinated. This is nearby, hopefully, okay, excuse me. This is incredibly helpful, especially since, they highlighted before, because of the NCR, or National Capital Region, plus 8 strategy, are cities and first-class municipalities, which is the target for Omicron when it arrives in the Philippines. Dapat handa na tayo na lahat na ay vaccinated, area to area, right? Of course, it's almost impossible to achieve a complete herd immunity all over the world, right? We all have our things to consider. Austriaco said that despite the number of COVID-19 positives, the Omicron hospitalizations are quite low. So there are 3 important questions that the scientists of the world are waiting for. Is the Omicron variant more transmissible? It is likely that it is more transmissible. Is the Omicron variant more immune invasive? Probably. The initial data seems to look like that, he said. Okay. Is the Omicron variant more deadly? And this is the good news point. It's probably less deadly than Delta. Oh, that's odd. See, he already left. Oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me lang po. Technology rin ito. Yung aking in-order sa Shopee ay dumating na. Alright, so, okay. So, yeah. Sabi ko na dadating today. But anyway, so yeah. Yung aking in-order. Okay, thank you so much. Right? Is the Omicron variant more deadly? Ito yung isang tanong pa, right? Isa pa nilang katanungan ay kung mas madali ba itong mag-spread? Is the Omicron variant more deadly? And this is the good news po. It's probably less deadly than Delta. Hi there, Jake. Long time no see, Jake. I miss you, Jake. Thank you, Jake. Christmas na. We haven't seen each other. But I know that I'm going to see you someday, Jake. All right? We can meet in Pampanga. Come to Pampanga. All right? Anyway, so yeah. So one thing is for sure though. Okay, all right? This is good news. It's probably less than deadly than Delta. Austriaco said Filipinos can still celebrate Christmas, but should prepare to be careful to avoid catching the virus. First, there is no need to panic, okay? It is time to be careful. Actually, we do not let down our guard. Like I said, even if bakunado na, we still have to be careful. We have to prepare, but we also have to celebrate, especially since this is Christmas. We must prepare the hospital infrastructure and increase healthcare workers' staffing capacity, because in the Alpha and Delta surges, it was clear that we had nursing shortages, okay? Especially in the NCR. Austriaco cited the need to continue the vaccination drive to build and maintain population. We must increase the population immunity around our international gateways. Omicron will enter through an airport most likely. Oo nga eh. Talaga naman eh. Doon na nga nanggagaling talaga. Kagaya ng first 2 cases ng Omicron dito sa Pilipinas, it came from one Nigerian citizen and also a returning overseas worker from the Philippines that came from Hong Kong. Okay? So doon nakuha, right? So, and if the Filipinos around the airports yung mga nagtatrabaho, no? Sorry. They are heavily vaccinated. Then it doesn't matter if there is an OFW, okay? Overseas Filipino worker who returns home. Because if this person is able to enter the community, the virus will struggle, right? Okay, so most likely nga talaga, yung transmission itong Omicron virus is through travelers coming to the country. Kaya doon na agad natin tinatry i-detect, right? So that's my update regarding the Omicron virus and the latest findings. No, like that's why in London, less hospitalizations. All right. Okay. So more news around the globe regarding technology. Okay, Apple. Some updates about Apple. Okay. Hold on a second, please. Can I just look at my background? Oh, we already have, let's see. That the Omicron virus is less likely to put you in the hospital. All right. In connection to, of course, sa bagyo na Odette na nagsalanta dito sa Pilipinas at ang toll ay more than 280 people have died from the Odette na typhoon, okay? Apple's pledge to help in recovery rebuilding efforts of the Philippines. Malaysia sparks worries on corruption, okay? This is the latest news regarding that from Apple. Tech company Apple will contribute to the recovery efforts of the Philippines and Malaysia following the onslaught of Typhoon Odette. Ang international name ng typhoon na ito ay Rai, or Ray, R-A-I. Tim Cook, CEO of Apple, issued this announcement on Twitter on December 21. Typhoon Ray, or Rai, has caused so much devastation in the Philippines and Malaysia. So many families have lost so much, sabi ni Cook. Apple will be contributing to relief recovery and longer-term rebuilding efforts through the hashtag OdettePH. Okay, so tayo ay makakatanggap ng ayuda mula sa Apple. Okay, Odette, one of the strongest typhoons to hit the country this year, exited the Philippine area of responsibility at 12:40 p.m. last Saturday, December 18. It left a trail of widespread flooding, uprooted trees, and destroyed properties in many provinces and islands in Visayas and Mindanao ahead of Christmas week. Hello there, Miss Angelica Paz. Hello. Happy holidays to you, Angelica. Happy holidays, Jake. Happy holidays, Cynthia. Happy holidays, Sugar. Happy holidays sa mga lahat ng nanonood at nakikinig din. Ang affected areas, okay, include the Siargao Island, Palawan, Cebu City, Southern Leyte, Bohol, and the Caraga regions, most of which are major tourist spots in the country. According to the UN Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, that caused the deaths of 400 people and displaced 630,000 more. Okay? The National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council also said on Monday, December 20th, that infrastructure damage had reached 225 million so far. Okay. Yes, Miss Angelica. It's almost Christmas. Have you finished your Christmas shopping? All of you guys that are watching, were you able to finish? Me, photo finish. I photo finished my gifts, but I was able to buy for everyone, and then, of course, wrapped it in my ugly pag-wrap way. Okay, but anyway, for me, Christmas is about giving, and that's the best gratification that I have during Christmas time is to be able to buy everyone a gift, whether big or small. The thought is the thought that counts, right? But for me, my Christmases have always been this way. But of course, this Christmas time is the second Christmas that I don't have my father with me, and at the same time, my family with me because I moved, right? But of course, love this Christmas time is still in the heart. Okay, so regarding the Apple's help that they're going to send to the Philippines and Malaysia, there are worries about corruption. Bakit? Bakit nag-worry, all right? Neighboring country Malaysia also experienced the wrath of Rai this week. In a report by Nikkei Asia on December 20, Malaysia's capital Kuala Lumpur and the state of Selangor were among the badly hit. Following 36 hours of torrential rains, the report said that 3 people had already died and 40,000 more were displaced. But as of today, like in the Philippines, there's over 280 people that have died. So let's go back to what I was saying about corruption. Why are there worries about corruption dahil dito sa mga bibigay na tulong? Talaga naman, di ba, sa mga pagdodonate, diyan nagkakaroon ng corruption because nakakarating ba dun sa mga nasalanta yung pera, right? So, Apple's announcement of relief response for typhoon victims was mostly welcomed by citizens of both countries online. Some users, however, expressed concern over the possible corruption by the respective governments should the donations be directed to them. Ayan na nga yung nangyari, di ba? Yung Yolanda here in the Philippines had happened, you know, my gosh, it took years for them to even rebuild, like some provinces that were really bad off. And of course, there was rumors and stuff about even food being stolen, like the bigas or the, what do you call this? The rice grains that didn't reach the families because they were hoarding it. Yan ang mga corruption nangyayari sa gobyerno, right? Please don't send the donations to Malaysia's government. You can reach out all the NGOs in Malaysia to send a donation. Thank you. This is what they are saying in Twitter. Kung pwede daw, hindi pa dala doon sa gobyerno, kung hindi sa mga center, kung saan makuha na ng mga tao diretso. Some of us here in the Philippines also do not want the donations to go through our government. Corruption is everywhere. Sabi naman ito na isa pang Twitter user with a sad face emoji or emoji. Apple, just don't give your money straight to the government. As you know, it's election time soon. That's right, that's the warning, okay? What is it? Sugar says she read something about the British robbed, what? While disseminating donations to Odette victims. Oh my goodness. This is in this country, in the Philippines. Oh my goodness. Ninakawan pa yung nagdo-donate na British. Is that it? Was that today or yesterday? It doesn't matter when it was, but that's really alarming. Nakakahiya naman. Tumutulong na nag-donate, ninakawan pa. Oh my goodness, it's really embarrassing. See? But we're talking about corruption. See, kung yan, ninanako yung mga relief, ano pa kaya yung milyon-milyong pera or pounds na papadala na tulong sa ating bansa? Makakarating pa ba yun sa mga nagkakailangan, right? So, some of us here in the Philippines also do not want the donations to go through our government, okay? Because they fear that it might be pilfered or diverted yung funds, especially it's campaign season at gamitin sa kampanya. Oh my God. Harjit Saijan, the Minister of International Development Agency Canada, also tweeted that the agency will provide financial aid of up to $3 million to the Philippines. $3 million is what? $3 million is 5 billion? Is that the one? Tama ba yung math ko? Or 50? Hindi, kasi $1 million is about 50 billion, right? Whatever, just do the math. So anyway, Canada is going to send $3 million to the Philippines as aid. Canada will always do our part to help in times of need. After a devastating typhoon at Canada Dev, we'll help our friends in the Philippines with up to $3 million in assistance, including $500,000 worth for the urgent Red Cross response. Okay, so Canada will always do our part to help in times of need. After a devastating typhoon, Canada Dev will help our friends in the Philippines with up to $3 million in assistance, including $500,000 for the urgent Red Cross response. Okay, very good. Day for Canada, right? Hopefully, the donations will not go to the pocket of the corrupt. Okay. Politicians seeing the number of the donations, that is the fear. Those politicians, okay, tingnan natin tong, let me show you something, okay? Let me show you what I'm talking about regarding corruption, all right? Hold on, please, bear with me. I'm just gonna do something to show you. Please bear with me. That's embarrassing, Sugar, what you read about some British people just wanting to help to distribute relief for the Odette typhoon victims in the Philippines. And then what do? They steal, they rob him. Oh my God, that's so disgusting. Disgustingly embarrassing, okay? So, okay, Odette. So yeah, we stand to see really corruption in the midst. That's why people are begging through tweets for the countries not to send it directly to the government, but instead find like LGUs or those local LGUs for them to send the money so that they know for sure it directly goes to the people who need it, right? Okay, so let's bring this up. Let me just show you. There you go. Look at this meme. Okay, I'll show you this. Oh, sorry. What did I remove? See that I violated my face? There you go. Politicians seeing the number of donations the country is about to receive. They're like lurking already. They're waiting, right, to see what they can corrupt. Whenever they call it kurakot. The term is kurakot for corruption, isn't it? It's making kurakot. So yan na yung inaay nila, right? Aside from Apple and Canadian government, several organizations and governments such as UNICEF, European Union, USAID, Japan, United Kingdom, among others, also pledged their contributions to help the Philippines recover from the impact of Odette. On Wednesday, acting presidential spokesperson Carlo Nograles thanked Australia, Canada, People's Republic of China, siyempre kasali, France, Japan, United Kingdom, United States of America, Qatar, the European Union, and the United Nations for offering assistance to the Philippines. Okay? All right. So, acting President spokesperson Nograles thanked Australia, Canada, People's Republic of China, France, Japan, United Kingdom, United States of America, Qatar, the European Union, and the United Nations for their offer to assist the victims of Odette. Okay? All right. So, they're saying that Odette exceeded all predictions. So let's find out what they mean by that, okay? Because they said that the rainfall that happened in Odette is stronger than that of Yolanda's. Is that true? Okay, so very disheartening naman talaga yung nangyari na Christmas season kasalanta pa ng bagyo. I felt really sad about that. That knowing that, we're eating well, we're all doing well, but then some people don't even have time to do anything but, what do you call this? Gather the pieces of their lives that got lost in this typhoon. It's very sad. Okay. So of course donations are being given left and right. At the same time, the mga buhayas are just lurking to see how they can use or divert these funds, right? Well, they have another thing coming. Okay. So there, see, look at the devastation around us. Tapos there's like these mga politicians will just take it, right? And use the funds for their own gain. That's really sad. So, there you go. At least you can see all the rubble. That's from the debris from the flood. And this is the situation in most places there in Siargao, Cebu, in the Visayas, right? So, the rapid intensification that turned this week's Typhoon Odette International name right into the strongest storm to hit the Philippines this year. So they're saying talaga the rainfall was very, very hard. It was hard rain, stronger than that of Yolanda, they said, okay? It's the strongest storm to hit the Philippines this year, and that surpassed all predictions, forecasters said, leaving nearly 400 people dead and almost 1 million displaced. That is so sad. While it's unclear exactly how global warming is affecting the intensification of such storms, UN's Climate Change Agency has found it is likely that the frequency of rapid intensification events increased over the past 4 decades as the temperatures rose, okay? So before Odette underwent a process of rapid intensification, forecasters at first warned of a storm that could bring considerable change which will bring considerable damage, not change, with winds of up to 165 kilometers, 103 miles per hour. But the situation evolved very fast. Itong sinabi ni Nikos Peñaranda, a forecaster who studies thunderstorms sa Philippines sa National Weather Bureau. Speaking on Tuesday, our models weren't able to predict the way the storm intensified and exceeded all our predictions. So, lahat ng hinula nila regarding this big typhoon is, it didn't happen, right? Okay? Kasi in rapid intensification of storms, warm ocean water, and differing wind speeds near the eye of the storm act as fuel to whip it up into a more severe event. In the case of Odette kasi ang nangyari, the storm turned into a Category 5 super typhoon with speeds similar to when a passenger airplane starts to lift off the ground. Oh my gosh. When it made landfall, winds of up to 210 kilometers per hour were uprooting coconut trees, ripping down electricity poles, and hurling slabs of corrugated tin and wood through the air. Ito yung tinatawag na yero na bubong, right? Nagtilipadan. Kasi I've never seen that happen anymore in the Philippines. But I remember as a child, of course, which spent in the Philippines, those mga bubongan, mga roof bubongan, ay yero. At dahil sa lakas ng bagyo, linilipad yun, deadly yun, ang tulis-tulis yan, right? It can decapitate anybody. So we have to be careful about those flying bubongs, right? A lack of real-time data and case studies of similar storms in the region made it difficult for forecasters to predict just how much Ray or Odette, as the storm is known locally, would intensify. Okay? The challenge in forecasting rapidly intensifying events is just that the speed with which this occurs. Okay? Often in a matter of hours, leaves less time to disaster risk reduction, mobilization, and evacuations. All right. So the challenge is forecasting rapidly intensifying events. It's just that the speed with which this occurs, often in a matter of hours, leaves less time for the disaster risk reduction and for them to mobilize their units. Okay, Hurricane Ida, a Category 4 storm, experienced a similar intensification in the Gulf of Mexico hours before it slammed into the U.S. state of Louisiana in August. Often temperatures near the surface, okay, ocean temperatures are near the surface, and all depths of up to 200 meters are rising around 3 times faster in the region. In the past 3 decades, okay, the Philippines has recorded at least 205 tropical cyclones, the highest of any Asian country according to MDAT, a publicly available database on disasters run by the University of Louvain. Nearly each one of them has taken lives and caused millions of dollars worth of damage. All right? So, by comparison, China, the second most affected country, has seen 139, and Bangladesh, also prone to storms, seen 42. So, of course, you know, marami pang gustong tumulong, marami pang gustong magpadala, pero yun na nga, they're also worry, and they worry and they are worried that the money might not go to the victims. I know, they have every reason to think that way kasi tayo nga naiisip natin yan, right? So, on this note, I'd like to ask if you have any questions, please feel free to field your questions here sa Broad Stream Cast Communicators page, or message me on my messenger or also on my private messages. If you have my Facebook account or my WhatsApp or Viber, you can also contact me there too. Okay? All right, so if you also have any suggestions, some topics to talk about or to cover, please feel free also to let us know. Because if not for this pandemic, I would be going out to interview people and find out how they are. And at the end of the day, come back to work, tired but gratified, right? Hello there, Tita Agnes. Tita Agnes Lakab, welcome to the show, and welcome to all those people that are watching in your home. All right, from the Lakab family, Merry Christmas to you. Okay, the Lakab family. Okay, so thank you, Tita Agnes. So going back to what we are talking about, so we just finished about Europe having the virus and how strong it is. Pumunta naman tayo, dumaka naman tayo sa ng space travel, all right? Trending din ito sa news for the past few days. All right, where is he? Aha. I can see I didn't. No. Oh no! What did I do? What happened to me? Oh, there you go. What did I do to myself again? Ano ba yan? Alright. Okay. So, Japanese space tourists return to Earth after 12 days on ISS. Diba? Ito yung Japanese billionaire. Who went to outer space. Why? Just because he can. Because he's a billionaire, right? There he is. Okay, so he finally returned from his mission. Okay. From Almaty, Kazakhstan. A Japanese billionaire returned to Earth Monday after 12 days spent on International Space Station, where he made videos about performing mundane tasks in space, including brushing teeth and going to the bathroom. Okay. Online fashion tycoon Yusaka Maizawa and his assistant Yozo Hirano parachuted onto Kazakhstan, ano ba yan? Mayim na bulol, Kazakhstan's at around the expected landing time of 0313 GMT Monday, along with Russian cosmonaut Alexander Masurkin. All right, footage from the landing site around 150 kilometers or 90 miles southeast of the central Kazakhstan town of Zezagar. What do you call this? Zeskazgan, showing the trio smiling after being helped out of the Soyuz descent module and into evacuation vehicles in freezing, foggy conditions. But that's pretty long time to stay. 12 days, oh my God. All right. So, the crew is feeling good. Okay, that's what they said. A commentator on NASA TV said, translating comments from Russian mission control. Russia's defense ministry had said on Sunday that Mezkawa and Flirano were set to be surprised by recovery crews with a traditional Japanese noodle dish. So yun ang kanilang welcome gift sa kanya, Japanese noodle dish. Might mean so much to them, right? Their journey marked Russia's return to space tourism after a long pause that saw the first rise of competition from the United States. The trio spent 12 days on the orbiting laboratory, where the Japanese tourists documented their daily life, but life aboard the ISS, Maizagawa's popular YouTube channel. Okay, so meron siyang sinamang tatlong crew. Okay, addressing his million followers on YouTube, the 46-year-old billionaire, imagine he's young, he's only 46, explained how to brush teeth and go in the bathroom in space. Okay? So, yan. So, sinundan nila, no? Of course, nag-vlog siya dun sa outer space, right? The tourists spent 12 days orbiting laboratory where the Philippines tourists documented their daily life aboard the ISS for Mazawa's popular YouTube channel. Addressing his 1 million followers on YouTube, the 46-year-old billionaire explained how to brush teeth and go to the bathroom in space. In one of the videos, he explained in detail the business of relieving oneself on the ISS. Okay, peeing is very easy, he said, as he demonstrated a handheld funnel astronauts use to suck their urine away. In other videos, he showed his followers how to properly drink tea and sleep in zero gravity. When the three space travelers arrived on the ISS on December 8th, they joined a 17 crew who were engaged in space biology and physics research. Maizawa plans to take 8 people with him on this 2023 mission around the moon operated by Elon Musk's SpaceX. He and his assistant are the first private Japanese citizens to visit space since journalist Tokuhiro Akiyama traveled to the MIR station in 1990. Okay. What is the turning point? All right. Kaya nga, si Angelica really, look at this Japanese billionaire commissioned one of the space vehicles of Elon Musk. Yan lang tong mga mayayaman na to, walang magawa eh. Like in America nga, if you have $200,000, you can ride and go on a trip to the moon. See? But, but who does that? Well, all these moneyed people, right? Okay, what's the turning point of this story about, about this Japanese returning to Japan? Billionaires Musk, Jeff Bezos, and Richard Branson all made breakthrough commercial tourism flights this year, bursting into a market Russia is keen to defend. Russia has a history of sending self-funded tourists to space. In partnership with US-based company Space Adventure, Russian space agency Roscosmos has previously taken several tourists to the ISS since 2001. Wow! So yung mga Russian, nauna na silang gawing palengke yung outer space. Balik-balik na. The last was Canada's Cirque du Soleil co-founder Guy Leberite in 2009, who was dubbed the first down in space. Okay? So, there. Talaga, Miss Angelica. But if you had like even $200,000 to spare, where would you use it? Okay, what would you use it for? I wish I'm also a billionaire so I could be a space science. Oh, she's talking about space science kasi, right? So, Moscow had stopped sending tourists to space after NASA retired its space shuttle in 2011, which left Russia with a monopoly on supplying the ISS. NASA brought up all Soyuz launch seats. There was a call coming in, sorry. But NASA brought about all Soyuz launch seats for, ito tingnan nyo kung magkano, okay? Tingnan nyo kung magkano. NASA bought up all Soyuz launch seats for a reported 90 million euros per spot. Oh my gosh. Effectively ending tourist flights. That changed last year when a SpaceX spacecraft successfully delivered its first astronauts to the ISS. Yun yung mga Amerikano naman last year. NASA began purchasing flights from SpaceX. Okay? And on this, so yan na po. Yan na po ang news no tungkol sa outer space na pumunta yung mga Japanese billionaire. Successfully na siya nakabalik. And on this note, I'd like to end today's broadcast po. Maraming salamat to all our friends who watched and who have been with us for the past hour. Thank you so much, please. And bukas po, meron pa po tayong Buhay Online. Thank you very much. Faith and hope and love, everyone. Maraming salamat. Please be safe from the virus. Thank you.
Inyong natunghayan at napakinggan ang mga makabagong pamamaraan sa mundo ng online.